welcome to Capital City News, your source for staying informed and engaged with Salt Lake City government. I'm your host, Brian Young with Salt Lake City TV. For our episode this week, we spoke with Josh Willie about the 900 South Reconstruction Project. Our History Minute is about the Fremont tribe and their early time in Salt Lake City. Before we get to those, though, let's take a look at our legislative update and our lookbacks.
At its November 22nd meeting, the City Council reviewed a proposal for the Fleet Block that included zoning changes, green space, and a mix of uses, held hearings for Budget Amendment 4, and adopted a joint resolution with the mayor marking December 1st as World AIDS Day in Salt Lake City. As the Board of Canvassers, they certified the results from the recent election, paving the way for the $85 million Parks, Trails, and Open Space Bond as approved by city voters. To learn more about these issues or any others, please visit slc.gov/council. The voters of Salt Lake City recently approved the $85 million bond to improve the parks, trails, and open spaces in Salt Lake City. To mark the occasion, Mayor Mendenhall and City Council held a press conference.
We did it. We passed the biggest investment in parks, trails, and open space in Salt Lake City's history. It's a phenomenal and a bold idea, actually, to say that we're going to improve access to good quality parks and trails and open space in every district in this capital city, and that we are going to build the very first regional park on the west side of Salt Lake City.
City Council member Anna Valdemoros, along with the Downtown Alliance, hosted a watch party of the first Team USA World Cup game at the Galvin Center. Residents cheered on Team USA as they achieved a stunning tie against Wales. More watch parties are planned in other districts as the World Cup unfolds. Check the City Council's social media for updates. Salt Lake City is in need of crossing guards to help school children safely cross the streets as they walk to and from school. There are currently paid part-time positions available now. Apply today and help keep kids safe in Salt Lake City. Visit slc.gov/jobs for more information.
Salt Lake City's snow fighters are committed to clearing the streets of snow and ice within 36 hours of a snowstorm. During a storm, they work 24/7 to ensure the safety of the traveling public, to open emergency routes to hospitals and fire stations, and ensure school buses have safe routes to get kids to school. There's also a dedicated team that works to clear city sidewalks and bike lanes, ensuring all modes of travel have safe paths. In December, the Streets Division put the names of some of their snowplows up for a vote, and the winning name was Sled Zeppelin. 10 snowplows were named in all, and if you keep your eye out during the next storm, you might catch one driving by. For our interview this week, we spoke with Josh Willie about the 900 South Reconstruction Project.
Yeah, my name's Josh Willie. I'm the project management supervisor in the engineering division, working with our right-of-way group managing roadway reconstruction projects. My role on this project is the project manager. This is a big project. It's a combination of a lot of different things coming together all at the same time in the same location. The entire corridor stretches from 900 West all the way to 950 East. We designed the entire project as one long corridor, but for the construction we broke it up into two phases. Our first phase is the central 9th section from 300 West to West Temple, and that's a project really pushed by the Salt Lake City Redevelopment Agency. And then the rest of the corridor is a coordination between the engineering division and the transportation division and public utilities to do improvements from 900 West to 300 West, and then from West Temple to Lincoln Street, 950 East. For the phase 2 sections, the big push was to install the center section of the 9-line trail. So there's the existing 9-line trail that's going from about 700 West to Redwood Road, and we have a new section east of Lincoln Street that we built a few years ago. And so now we're building the center section of the 9-line trail to connect the east and west sections of the trail. The new trail section will be behind the curb trail, so it's going to be a very safe, comfortable space for people to bike and walk and move around the city. It's going to connect, trail users from the east side of the city to the Jordan River Trail out here on the west, which gets them to a lot of other destinations. So it really makes this great connection for people to get out and bike, and for pedestrians to get out and be able to connect to a lot of other trail sections that we have in the city. So that was a big driver for this project, was to install that center section of the 9-line trail. Along with that, engineering is participating in doing some pavement restoration along this corridor as well, with funding our future bond that was passed a few years ago. And Public Utilities has taken this opportunity to do some utility improvements while we're out here. Along with the trail and the pavement restoration that we're doing, we're also have a big push to improve transit service with this project. So we are improving a lot of the existing bus stops that are along the corridor, as well as installing some new bus stops along the corridor. So the city's partnered with UTA to make that possible, and that's another big push that we're doing with this project. The phase 1 section in Central 9th, they've completed the center median island that's going in with the landscape improvements that were installed as part of that, and they're currently wrapping up the south side of the roadway. So they've got the road paved and the flat work in, and they're just doing the landscape touch up right now. Once they've completed that this year, that contractor will pull off the project through the winter time, and then in the spring of 2023, they'll come back and finish the north side of the road. Same similar improvements, you know, the curb gutter, flat work will all be improved, as long as a lot of new landscaping that will be installed as part of the phase 1 project. The phase 2 project, in the phase 1 project, that should be finishing up summer of 2023. We'll have that part of the project done. For phase 2, they started at 9th West and they've been moving their way east along the corridor. They've substantially completed the roadway portion of the project up to State Street. There's still a little bit of landscaping and some cleanup along that section to do, but the road is pretty well done and open to traffic and trail users between 9th West and State Street. Currently, they're working east of State Street. They're going to get as much done as the weather will allow them to this year, and there will be some work that will continue through the winter, but then starting in spring of 2023 is when they'll start to make another big push to go east between 200 East until Lincoln Street. So the first place people could go to is a website that we've developed for this project. If they go to slc.gov/MyStreet, they can find a link there under the current projects for this 900 South project, and it has a lot of information about the project. On that same website, there's a hotline that they can call if they have questions. There's also an email address that they can respond to get questions, and also to be put on a list to receive monthly updates about construction.
Now it's time for my favorite part of Capital City News, the History Minute. Archaeologists first identified the Fremont culture in 1928 near Torrey, Utah, and named them after the Fremont River. They were a collective of archaic foragers who were spread across Utah. They lived in distinctive pit-dwelling homes and were capable farmers and foragers. It's thought that they vanished as a people in Utah somewhere between 900 and 1300 CE, being absorbed into other tribes thanks to the changing climate that made farming much more difficult. The Fremont were united across a huge swath of territory by their art and customs, but we don't know what the Fremont called themselves. It's important to remember that the name Fremont was given to them for the purposes of archaeological study. In 1998, when excavating for the infrastructure for a new track station in front of the arena where the Utah Jazz play, a skull and other bones were found. Archaeologists were called in and discovered that these human remains were from this era of Fremont settlement. Further digging revealed some of the ancient pit houses the Fremont lived in that would have existed close to the shores of what we now know as City Creek. After the archaeologists conducted their search, the site was cemented over and the construction of the tracks line and station continued. Today, the arena station is adorned with an arrowhead in honor of the historic site it rests upon. That's it for another episode of Capital City News. Remember, the best way to stay engaged is to stay informed, and you can do that by following us on social media at SLC.gov, subscribing to us on YouTube, or watching us on Channel 17. So, reporting in from Gallivan Plaza, I'm Brian Young.